Okay, welcome everyone to our class Tanya Outside In. We are finishing off chapter 19, which I thought we'd finish last time. I think we're now part four or three, either way. And it's the day after Purim, so we're all just a little bit hungover. Oh no, you guys are only Purim in Jerusalem. Otherwise, you guys had Shabbos to recover. Uh-huh. And then Sunday. Okay, so anyway, so we're kind of covered now, Baruch Hashem. Who's that? Ari Haran. Oh, Gabriel. Okay, so we're on page Kaf Hey. First word of the line is Badatam, right in the middle of the page, basically. Um, and we are talking about the phenomena of the Jewish experience when a Yid is confronted with uh, a Shem Echad, um, or it's not that he's confronted with denouncing his religion, is that he's confronted with a um unapologetic, an impossible um I was just um, a a conflict between a Shem Echad and his life, meaning a very obvious conflict. For example, when a person eats basa v'cholav, that's not an immediate conflict between a Shem Echad and what he's doing. Whereas when somebody bows to an idol, yeah, that is an immediate. The word's not immediate. I'm looking for it. Like an not undeniable, like you can't deny it. Like I can't think of the word. A what?
Irrefutable.
No. Either way, when it's a stira muchlat mamash, it's an absolute stira between his life and a Shem Echad. The Jew says the Tanya in the majority of cases will give up his life. And that's what we're dealing with now. So now the Rebbe in at the end of chapter 19 basically takes this to the furthest extreme and says, how far will this go? This pagam, this breaking of a Shem Echad, what does that mean? Does that mean that I have to like actually bow to the idol and say, I'm giving myself over to you, idol so and so? Or what about if I'm literally just bow to the idol and in my head I'm going, I don't believe in you, I don't believe in you, I don't believe in you. Or do I have to actually come to believe in the idol? That's what he's dealing with now. And he actually comes out and says that even an empty bowing, the empty gesture of the physical bow to the idol will become impossible. And this is an amazing when you think this through, this is really, really amazing because this is explaining to you how you, the nameless, sacred, indescribable, infinite you, extend mamash into your actions. And when you're doing the washing up for your wife, see, this is so important to chap, and it's something that I kind of I battle with regularly because I hear a lot of people giving over Torah that doesn't account for this factor, which is that I don't know the difference between you and Hashem, the core of who you are. I don't know. I don't know if there is a difference. I don't know. I don't know the core of the soul, the core of the Jewish soul, of whatever you are. If that is different from Hashem, whatever it is, I don't know. Either way, if it isn't infinite, it's pretty close to being infinite, yeah, or beyond created. If it's not created, it's of creator. I don't know, but either way the who you really are, which is beyond name, which is perfect and infinite and endless and holy and whatever, yeah? And that same part of your wife that's also holy and infinite and endless and perfect, etc., yeah? The way they connect is through the lowest part of the whole system, which is action. The way they most deeply connect is through action, which is the lowest part of the whole system. So the highest part, let's just call that oineg, yeah? The highest part of the entire system is the essence of who you are. That's called oineg. As we know, that becomes melubash in ratzon, yeah? Which becomes ordered through seichel, that becomes manifest in or that becomes born into emotions, that becomes expressed through behavior, thought, speech, and action. Action being the lowest part. So that's the whole system. So you've got the oineg, which is the uncreated, whatever you want to call that part of the soul that comes down, and it comes through ratzon, through seichel, through midas, and then through levushim, through behavior. And the lowest part of behavior is action. That's where the two parts actually connect. That's where the essence of you and the essence of the other connect in the most profound way. When you do something for the other. That's amazing. That's really amazing when you think that through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The lowest, the essence of who you are is expressed primarily through the lowest of what you are in your action. Yitzi, you're not impressed by that, no?
Wow. That's,
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the next line. Okay, yes, amazing. And so therefore what?
We could go a lot of different directions with this, but the direction we're going right now is to say that you can't even bow, an empty bow in front of an idol. You wouldn't be able to do it. In fact, Ad Kdei Kach, that the story is in the Gemara of Hannah with her 7 sons, and her final son, what's his name? Was it Ptolemy Melech or some? I can't remember the name of the Russia. Yeah, Ptolemy Melech, whatever his name was. Yamach Shema anyway. It's good that I forgot. So he put a ring down in front of the idol. The other 6 brothers had been shechted. And he says to the last one, he says, listen, just pick up the ring. Just pick up the ring in front of the idol. I don't even need you. And the kid's like, no, and he shechted the last kid, Rahmanas. That is even the empty gesture of bowing is not an empty gesture of bowing. That's the point. Is because there isn't kavana there. That doesn't mean this is actually very important for what Gabrielle and me were discussing today. Yeah, because there's no kavana there, that isn't the essence. The essence is the actual Maisa mitzvah. The kavana is another thing that we're offering to the Ribono Shel Olam. You get that? That's a very important idea. Is the ikar korban that we give to Hashem is the actual Maisa mitzvah. That's the ikar of the mitzvah. And now we want to also give him our emotions, and we also want to give him our mind. But without the Maisa mitzvah, that's called the goof. That's the body of the mitzvah. The kavanas are the wings of the mitzvah. So if you've just got the kavanas without the mitzvah, without the actual maisa of the mitzvah, then you've just got wings without a bird. That's nothing. That's just a bunch of feathers. Whereas if you've just got the bird without the wings, yeah, well, you've got a bird. There's all kinds of mitzvahs tally on that. Sar Balachayim, you can even muck with it in a lot of situations. But that's what's
I thought a mitzvah without a kavanah is like a goof without a neshama.
Yes, so Eliezer said a mitzvah without a kavanah is like a goof without a neshama. Absolutely. And we want to give it a neshama, but it's still a goof. Whereas kavanahs without a mitzvah is a neshama without a goof, you can't put that anywhere. That doesn't exist. A neshama without a goof is it doesn't have a place. You need both. But the first most important thing is that you have the goof, just like the child is born, and then later on the different levels of the neshama come in. But that's a very important thing to keep. So we're learning about that now in a different way, on a different side. That me and Gabriel are learning about this kind of Be'ian in a Rav Yoel Khan book where he talks about how the Ma'aser Mitzvah is the Ikka and the Kavanah is secondary. He's going from a different side in where we're talking about now, saying that you wouldn't even be able to bow to an idol, where you're bowing down saying, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in this, this is stupid, this is stupid, this is stupid. You still wouldn't be able to do that. So let's jump in. Okay. Ach, first line is Bedatim right in the middle of the page. 4 words in. Ach, kashabaim l'dei nisayim bedava emuna. When a human, when a Jew comes, and even a Jew, he said a very simple Jew, an Am Ha'aretz, who's got no ideas in these ideas, yeah, he's just running on the fact that he's Jewish and that his soul knows what's going on. When he comes to a Nisayan in something to do with emunah, which I said, remember, becomes what's the word, man? Not irrefutable, not like a complete contradiction between Hashem Echad and himself. Okay. She lamala das, and this idea of emunah is beyond das, and that's, by the way, I should really add this in. V'naga, let me just get to the full stop and I'll add this in. V'naga ada nefesh the bechinas chochma shaba, and it touches the essence of the nefesh to the bechina of chochma in the nefesh. Now, chochma isn't the essence of the nefesh, but chochma is the pesach to the essence of the nefesh. Okay, Shabbat. Azai he ne'ura mishnasa, it will wake up from its sleep. And it will do what it will kind of rise to the occasion and do what it needs to do on the level of action. Okay, I just wanted to mention that he says here the adlo yada, that it goes beyond the level of das, yeah. And this is what I learned in another Rav Yoel Khan book just for Pesach, just for Purim, is that the point of Purim, another understanding of Adloyada Bein Ar Haman Baruch Mordechai, try and say that when you're shikah, is not that you don't know the difference between them, it's that you know the difference between them beyond the level of das. Meaning beyond any kind of intelligent way of articulating because of their actions. That you go to the essence of who you are, where in the essence of everything, there's still a difference between Nishmas Yisrael and everything else. And so that was a completely different way of understanding it. I thought it was very beautiful. And he said that was the Ad Yoda, and that he just mentioned this is beyond das. So this is what we're talking about here. Incongruity, antithesis. No, I was referring to the fact when it's obvious that you can't that the incongruity, the words that you just used there, are so obviously, it's so obvious, undeniable, clear. There's a good word for it, where to the contradiction is just so blatant that there's no way around it, so you can't like fudge it at all. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so when that happens, when we are faced with a stira between Hashem Echad and our life, we will come through for Hashem. We are so connected to reality on the deepest level that we realize that our life is a detail in reality. And we can't be koifer on reality. That would make any sense. The only way a person can be koifer on reality for his life is when he thinks his life is more real than reality. But in the essence of the Jewish soul, it's absolutely clear, as clear as daylight, that Hashem is real, that Hashem Echad is reality, and that I am a detail in that. So how can I contradict reality for my life? That doesn't make any sense. Not that you're doing it for that reason, but it's just that's the feeling. Your life is saying, no, of course you don't give up your life for God. You're real. But because you've entered in to to the essence of reality, to the essence of your soul, the essence of reality, it becomes an impossibility for you to not give up your life. Now, how far does that go? This is what we're saying now. It's like he wakes up from his sleep. La'amoid b'nisayon b'emunas Hashem, to be oimed, to stand strong in this nisayon of emunas Hashem. Remember, not of your religion, but of an emunas Hashem. And remember, very important idea is that Rav Yitzhak Ginsburg refers to the essence of the essence of the essence of the Jewish soul as emunah. He calls Kesed divides into three parts. We don't know that anyway. But the way that the names that Rav Yitzhak Ginsburg gives to it is the lowest he calls Ratzon, the intermediate level he calls Tainug, and the highest level he actually calls Emunah. Okay, and the Kisvei Ari, it's different words, but that's what Rav Yitzhak Ginsburg gives. That's a very important thing to know, that the essence of the Jewish soul is called Emunah. Emunah is not a trait that you acquire. Emunah is a place that you access. Emunah is the very it's the shoresh of yourself, the shoresh of your Yiddishkeit. That's called emunah. So emunah isn't like a thing that we try and accustom ourselves to. Emunah is a process of stripping away everything that isn't emunah. That's what emunah is. Emunah is like cutting through the jungle to get to the essence of who you are. That's what emunah is. So bli shum tam v'das, without any kind of intellectualization or understanding. For seichel musag, lo lizkabe al aklipas, for taivas oilem hazer beheta ubeissa, to be miskabe over the klipas. What does the klipa do? What's the primary function of the klipa? To give you. Go on, finish my sentence. The primary function of the klipa is to give you
an opportunity to see Hashem.
Yeah, but that's everyone.
Bechira.
What?
Taiva?
Bechira.
Yeah, but how? What does it give you? To give you bechira?
Free choice.
What's the free choice between
Hashem and something else?
No. Hashem and
yourself.
Klipa, the primary goal of Klipa is to give you an independent sense of self.
I feel like we all said that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I got annoyed, because you were saying it, but you weren't using the words that I wanted you to use. So I was like, you always do this. But that's the point. Yeah, the Klipa, everyone knows this. Klipa gives you an independent sense of self, which is sheker. The tzaddik is the man or the woman who has risen beyond all sense of independent sense of self. And that's why they work so hard. That's why their avodah is so impressive, because they're not bound by their sense of self. That's not any kind of limitation. See, your sense of self is a limitation. If your sense of self is infinity, if your sense of self is bound up in the Ribbono Shel Olam sense of self, well, then where are the limits? You're absolutely unlimited, and you will break through all boundaries. But when your sense of self, it might be very high and very strong, it might push you a certain amount, and one person's sense of self will push them farther than another person's sense of self. But when that dissolves and your sense of self dissolves into Hashem's sense of self, the big picture of reality, yeah, then you will inspire not only yourself, but everybody else will become inspired by your avodah, because you're not limited by yourself. You've become connected to reality, mamash. So that means he's liskabe ala klipas for taivas oilam hazer. So if the klipa, the ikka avodah of the klipa is to give you an independent sense of self, what is the ikka taiva?
Gaiva.
What?
Gaiva.
Well, to experience that sense of self, to solidify, and that's why pleasure is so irresistible for us, especially sexual pleasure, which is the strongest type of pleasure, because that is the most, when someone's having pleasure, you cannot tell them they don't exist. They exist. That's why people, when they're doing things that are pleasurable, are able to do it in front of, they lose their sense of self, in a sense, that they lose their sense of inhibition, in that it makes you so real that it makes everything else less real around you. And that's one of the reasons why by beer with our wives, it's through pleasure. The process of bringing down, the process of connection, the ultimate level of connection primarily takes place through beer, where it's to do with your ultimate sense of pleasure. So in that situation, if you're able to put her pleasure before your pleasure, that is really where, and not in an egotistical way, but in a genuine way that you appreciate her more than you. Yeah, that is, you make huge progress in the relationship. Huge, that's one side of it, but that's an important thing to keep in mind. So the Klippa gives us our sense of independence, and Taiva is the experience, the ultimate experience of that sense of independence. And this is the important whether it's permissible or forbidden. And this is so important, again, in that we're a bunch of nice guys. We're sitting here, yeah. We've all have privileged lives. We've grown up in, whether in LA or New York or London or Toronto, or we've grown up in first world countries with, to varying degrees, either middle class, upper middle class. We've had lots of opportunities available to us. We've been shielded from lots of terrible things that a lot of other people aren't shielded from, etc. Yeah. So this is what he says here: whether your taiva is beheta or be'issa. So probably most of us aren't dealing with crazy forbidden taivas, yeah. But don't attribute that to your own moral high standing. That's just because he says here shahugul behem, whatever you become accustomed to. So if you grew up in Compton or in Harlem or in I don't even know, in what's the word? Croydon in London.
Gaza.
Gaza, wherever you grew up, exactly, wherever you grew up, yeah, that will dictate to the large part, not absolutely, you've always got Bechira, but that will dictate to a large part what kind of averas you're going to be involved in, what kind of taivas you're going to be involved in. Okay, so he says, so this is the point, is that a person who is involved in eating too much Eidah Chareda's meat, or being with his wife too much, or being very gluttonous with his wife, or whatever he's being, however he's being, yeah, it might not be a textbook Avera, but we're talking about that. We're talking about this idea of you being so real to yourself. That's what we're talking about. That is what you're going to give up. That is what will be able to be given up when reality becomes apparent to you. So even though when you write down, your averas and the averas of the guy who lives in Harlem, and it's like kind of a no contest, yeah. In truth, when you understand that we're Brixton or Burnt Oak, thank you, Brixton, as I was thinking to say. Good. I came up with Croydon. Anyway, that when you come up when oh, you threw me off, man. What was I saying? She's a hugel. Oh, when reality becomes apparent to us, yeah, we will be able to give up that independent sense of self, and it doesn't matter what it looks like, whether we're out there, murdering and selling drugs and dealing with all kinds of terrible things, or whether we, whether we fress, or when we come back from work, or we're not sneer stick with our wives, or whatever it is, wherever you're holding, yeah, it's just different graphics. It's just different graphics. Never forget about that. Shugul behem, limsur behem, limois behem, to be discussed about them. V'livchol lo Hashem lechelko legoraloi, and to choose Hashem is chelik and his goral, That's Bechinas Purim. His goal, meaning going beyond the level of das into the level of chaos, so to speak, the level of the goal, the pur. Yeah, limsuroi nafshoy al kedushas shemoy, to be moiser your nefesh al kedushas Hashem. Va'af kia klipa gavru olov kol yomov, and even though this guy, he's really involved in klipa, he's really involved in himself. V'lo yochlu lehem, and he never is able to overcome his sense of self. Because because the Rashayim are in the dominion of their heart. Mikol makom, when it comes to a test with in the aspect of chokhmah of the nefesh, which is so in a thing of emunah, in a Shem Echad, kodesh, that its foundation of Hashem Echad is in the spitz of the neshama. He bechinas chochma shebenefesh l'kis, which is called the chochma of the nefesh l'kis, sheba melubish or ein so bochu, that within it is enclosed the light of Hashem Himself. Because chochma, remember, chochma doesn't need to grasp anything. Chochma is re'iyah, it looks. So it's just happy to look at Hashem. So there's no stira between Hashem and Chokhmah. There's a big stira between Hashem and Bina, but it's in Chokhmah that Hashem is comfortable, so to speak, and therefore enclosed within. They call klipas batalim and muvutalim, and therefore all of the klipas are nullified, mamash. And they are as if they don't exist in front of Hashem. It's like the idea of experiencing God. If you really experience God, yeah, then there would be no one to experience Him. You can't, by definition, you can't experience God because God is reality. And you're not something separate from reality. In fact, the part of you that experiences stuff could be defined as the only part of reality that isn't a real part of reality, or the most unobvious part of reality, the most deceptive part of reality.
So if you say you're having an experience of Hashem, what it really means you're absolutely not having an experience of Hashem.
It means you're having an experience of yourself. That's what you're experiencing. So I'm not saying there aren't amazing things to experience in this world. I'm not saying that there are, but a true relationship, like we've said, a real relationship is nothing to do with experience. It's to do with service. That is the reason why my soul came to this world is to just scream that message out. A real relationship is not about experience, it is about service. That's the most important thing that I know. And then he says, and this is what happens is when the klipa stands in front of reality, what happens? It can't. Klipa can't look reality in the face. Why? Because klipa, think about it. How could klipa look reality in the face? If klipa saw reality for what it was, it would not exist. It would immediately melt. That's what it means. That's why in the past we just saw that Moshe couldn't look Hashem in the face. Although it says pan on pan the whole time, but he says, you can't see my face because you can't see my face and live. That's the whole Indian. So you had to put him in a rock. That's a Moiradika idea. A rock. You had to put him in a rock, the most kind of infinite part of this world. A rock is like a moshel for infinity in this world, which is funny because it's the lowest of everything. A rock is completely devoid of all life. That's the one. It's like it doesn't move, it doesn't change, it doesn't feel anything. It's the lowest of everything, yeah. And it's the rock that can shield Moshe from dying in front of the presence of God. What is that? It's the thing that has Oh, to get involved in that's a massive idea. But it's the rock is the closest thing to the moshel for Hashem in the world because it's the most Olam Hazeh dicker part of Olam Hazeh. That's why it's the highest and the lowest. I know you didn't, or if you did understand this because of other things we've spoken about, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Sorry. And it would be like it disappears mamash in front of Hashem. I'm going to read quickly now because this is quite straightforward as well to Hashem. Lifnei Hashem k'dichsiv kol goyim ka'ayin negdoi. Like the goyim is going to bring a bunch of different psukim, 4 different psukim. That like in front of Hashem, the goyim are nothing. Uksiv ki hinei oivecha Hashem ki hinei oivecha yavdu v'ispardu. That your enemies Hashem, which is the sitracha, the feeling of separate sense of self. In front of you, they will just be destroyed and dispersed. You can see if k'ma'as doinig mipnei eish yavdu, and like wax they will burn in front of they will burn in front of a great fire. And mountains like wax will melt. That's the idea of wax. Wax is when wax is exposed to the fire, it just melts away. When you are exposed to reality, yeah, you melt away. That would be putting the Asay Tov in front of the Sumei Ra. See, the avoider, our general avoider is the Sumei Ra. But if you're Zocher to the Asay Tov, yeah, the Sumei Ra, that's why it's an upward spiral. Because the more Ra you pull away, the more the Tov it reveals itself to you. And the more the Tov melts the Ra. The more you become cognizant of reality, yeah, the less real you become to yourself, and that means the more real you become. That's so funny, isn't it? It's such a funny joke that Hashem made it. The less real you are, the more real you are. The more you let go of yourself, the more you're able. Listen, let's put it really practically, yeah. The easier it gets for you when you walk into your house after a hard day in the office, yeah, and all you want to do is you want to walk, you want to take off your shoes, you want to sit down, you want to eat something nice, drink something cold, and have everyone shut up, yeah. The more you can just walk into your house, and as the kids jump on you with up, look at this, and he did this and that, you're fine, yeah, you're okay. You're not getting rattled. You're there. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Your wife. You're here for. It's not stun that's how reality's been set up. That as you walk into your house, the time when you need to be involved in yourself the most, yeah, that's when the onslaught hits you of everybody else needing you. Yeah. Because Hashem's so kind that he sends you the ultimate way, the quickest, most effective way of going up and up and up on this infinite upward spiral. So as that becomes more and more, so to speak, digestible to you, as when you walk into the house, you're not like, just leave me alone, I need my own time. As you can walk into the house, and at the time when you need your own time, you're able to turn around to your child, put your hand on his face or her face and say, yes, gorgeous, how can I help? I'm here for you. Or you can look at your wife and say, instead of where's my dinner, you can say, how was your day? And actually care. Yeah, that's it. You're going up and up and up. And you'll keep going up and it will get easier and easier. And then you know what happens when it gets easier? Then Hashem will make it more difficult. And it will be bigger nisyonos, and you'll need more time for yourself. And the kids will come with more difficult, more selfish problems. And then it won't be the kids, it will be whatever it will be, however it will be. But it's not that it gets easier, it's that I said this at my Shabbos table this week. It's that you should run to lachatz. We run away from pressure. Yeah, we run away from discomfort. We really need to be able to run to discomfort. No, I'm not talking about in a sadistic, masochistic way, but we need to be able to embrace discomfort. That's a massive chalik of the avoider, is to be able to
take you
embrace
away from menuchas and nefesh, which is one of the running to discomfort?
No, when I say running to discomfort, meaning that you shouldn't be fearful of discomfort. You shouldn't run away from discomfort. If something's not that you run to discomfort, like you're gonna, I saw a YouTube video one time of a guy who jumped into a cactus bush for fun. Like I was like, I can't believe I took it years ago. And it stuck with me. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you know that something needs to be done and it's uncomfortable, that becomes not a part of the equation and you will run to it. You will not avoid it because it's uncomfortable. That's what I'm talking about. You will run to, and most of the things you need to do are actually uncomfortable. Most of the things that need to get done are annoying or difficult or painful or whatever it is, uncomfortable. Yeah, when you can run to those things, you understand, yeah? I'm not advocating sigufim in any way. I'm really not. Okay, let's finish off quickly. That the light of God that is enclosed within the soul, God over atzum koichoi kolkach. It's so gewaldig, so massive, so strong. Legarish letchois asitra achva klipas shelo yochlu yigiu afilu belevushav. That it can push away the klipa even at the farthest extreme of your whole being. It's not that you won't just understand it or feel it or think it even. It's that you won't be able to do it even. It goes all the way down to the bottom of the system. It goes even into the thought, speech, and action, not just into the actual midas and the seichel of the soul. Show amunas Hashem echad. Dahainu la'amoid b'nisayin limson nafshoy afilu shloi la'asois rak eza maisa levad neged amunas Hashem echad. It can't even do a simple action against Hashem echad. For example, la'avodah zara, to bow in front of an avodah zara, af she'eina ma'amin b'klal b'liboy, even though that he has no emunah in his heart b'klal. V'chein shlo ledaber toya chaz v'shalom al achdas Hashem, and he wouldn't be able to say something neged achdas Hashem. Af she'ein pi v'libo shavin, even though that his mouth and his heart aren't the same, he's just saying it like rak libo shavin. Ach she'ein piv liboy shavin, rak liboy shalem be'emunas Hashem. He knows in his heart that he's just saying, oh, I don't believe in God, or God is not one. I don't know what he'd have to say to appease the avodah zara, but whatever he'd have to say. But in his heart, he's b'shleimus with the fact that Hashem echad. He wouldn't be able to do that, and this is called v'zen nikra dechilu hanichla b'rechimu. Wow, this is really the whole inyan of Purim. This is the dechilu hanichla b'rechimu. Gabriel, you remember speaking about this? This is the fear which is enclosed within the love. He mentioned this back in chapter 18. Now that was only a chapter ago, but that was that in chapter 18 he explained that this love has a fear in it. Maybe I'll say very quickly at the end how this connects to Purim. She'ava tavius. This is the natural love. Shebenefesh Lakis, Shebaklas Yisrael, that is in the godly soul of every Yid, every Jew. That its desire and its will by nature is to be merged with its shoresh, which is its source, which is the light of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Because of this love, and this ratzoin he, yira u'mefachedes b'tiva min bekatza tumas avodah zara chas v'shalom. That because of the very source of the soul, it can't even touch the furthest extremity of avodah zara, which is the complete contradiction to an obvious contradiction to Hashem Echad. She neged emunas Hashem Echad, which is neged emunas Hashem Echad. Afilu b'levusheach echitzonim, even in the external garments of the soul. Shem dibo or maisa, which are thought and action, speech and action. Bli emuna belev klal, without any inyan of the heart. It can't even say something negative, or can't do something negative. And that's also a big, if you want to make it very practical, a very big revelation in your relationship with your wife is if you're really in a good place with your wife, yeah, then if another family member will say something negative her, or one of the children, if another child will say something negative one of your children, you won't be able to go along with it. Even in the mouth, you will have to say something. And no, you can't say like that. That's not fair. She's not like that. He's not like that. That's not true. Whatever it is, that will if the person is so real to you, yeah, then you won't be able to say something against them. You won't be able to do something against them. So just to tie this back to Purim very quickly, and then we'll finish, is that this is we say, or did we speak about this? I think we mentioned this in the Purim thing we spoke about, but I'll just say it very quickly. It's we're told that in the Gemara that we did tshuva from love. We were makabel the Torah from love over Purim, yeah? When it sounds like really it wasn't, because we had Haman standing over us with a gun, yeah? So how was that love? So the point was that that's really this story. That was Haman, yeah? Mordechai was koilo all of Am Yisrael. And Haman said to him, either you bow to me or I'll kill you. That's exactly what we're talking about here. And Mordechai said no. And that is the revelation. What gave Mordechai the ability to say no? And by the way, that was mispashed out. That spread out into the entire nation of Am Yisrael. What gave Mordechai the ability to say no to Haman? Was this love in this Jewish? It's called the Ava Musuteres, which we mentioned a couple of chapters ago. The hidden love, and that's Loshen Esther. Musuteres is the word Esther. So Megillus Esther is the revelation of the essence of your Yiddishkeit. And when you access who you truly are, that is Kabbalah's Torah Be'ava. Why? Because who you are, the essence of who you are, is Kudsha B'rechu Oiraisa V'Yisrael Kulu Chad. So when you access who you are, the essence of who you are, that means you're one with the Rebbeinu Shalom, and you're also one with the Oraisa. You're one with the Torah, and that was Kabbalah's Torah Be'ava. So that's Megillus Esther. That's Purim. So now we've just been makabel the Torah Be'ava. It's time to now live the Torah with Ava and realize that it's our life and that there is nothing else, and that is most obviously expressed through our actions. And not only is it most obviously expressed through our actions, but like the Sefer Chinuch says over and over and over and over again, and like we all know, is the actions feed back into the system, and it's an upward spiral. The more you act lovingly to your wife, the more you love her. And therefore, the more you act lovingly towards her, and then the more you love her, and the more you act, the more you love, the more you act, the more you love, the more you act, the more you love. So whenever, just to make it practical again, whenever you're feeling very negative towards your wife, dafka then is the most important time to go and do something for her. That's the remedy to the emotion. That's the remedy to the emotion, is going against the emotion with a loving act. That makes you feel more loving towards them, and hopefully you'll be back on an upward spiral, and it will just go up and up from there. Bezrat Hashem. So everything in the Tanya that we're learning is just reality. So we're learning it right now in context of the Rebbeinu Shalom, but we can use that in our own. Just once you understand reality, it's holographic. It exists on every layer of reality. So another layer of reality is with our wives, and every relationship, it's the same idea. Okay, we should be Zoicha Bezrat Hashem. Okay. Shkoyach, everybody.